Hello there, my beautiful Barca babies. How we doing today? Smells like an 8-point lead in La Liga. Barcelona with a 3-0 win over Sevilla. We're going to go over the good, the bad, the Barca in a full match review and analysis. We'll go over what was good, what was bad. We'll talk about what was Barca, meaning what represented the badge, what was true to Barcelona's DNA. And then, of course, we will talk about the mustache man of the match, all that and more, whatever comes up conversationally as we catch up on all the Barcelona headlines of today. We connect with our fellow culés. We have some good conversation. That is what we do here on the channel. Support the badge, support each other. I'm glad you're here. Make sure you drop a like. Let's get things kicked off the right way, my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuning in to the undefeated Mustache John.
All right, here we go. Barcelona with a big 3-0 win, like I said, over Sevilla. And before we even go over match stats, let's take a look at the table. Barcelona up 8 points over second place Real Madrid. Barcelona with 53, Real on 45, Sociedad down with 39, Atletico Madrid on 35. That's your top four. Barcelona smooth sailing. Like I said, after this 3-0 win, we're going to go over the match stats. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the Barca. That is all happening on today's episode. But before we get to that, let me turn to the chat, say what's up to the Stash Squad, see how we're doing, see who's hanging out with us. Again, if you are watching this either live or on replay, you want to be part of the conversation, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching live, participate in the chat. This is your opportunity to connect with your fellow culés. And if you're watching on replay, leave your comments down below. Give me your questions, your comments, your thoughts, your opinions. I want to hear it, all right? This channel, I should say, this community is about the conversation. So glad to have you here and everyone watching over on TikTok. Araujo, Pure Barca, how we doing, my friends? Glad to have you. Again, if you're watching on TikTok and you want the full experience, the screen share, the graphics, all that good stuff, swipe over, click the link in the bio. That'll get you over to the undefeated Mustache John YouTube channel with the Stash Squad. So let's go ahead and turn and say hello. And then, like I said, my friends, we'll get into a match overview here in just a few moments. Let's see who we got in here. Fabrice, hello. Harry, welcome, sir. Forza Barca is with us. Ryan Scott, hello. Simple, how we doing, sir? Who else we got in the house? Monty Edits is here. Fox Gaming is here. Looks like we got a good Stash Squad contingent here. Schlifty is with us as well. Hello to you all. Again, if you're just finding us for the first time, make sure you subscribe. Be part of the conversation, all right? I do really want to hear from you. I want to hear your questions, your comments, your concerns about Barcelona. It's all about driving this community, connecting the culés from around the world as we support the badge, support each other. Winston, hello. Hollow the Reaper, hello. Fox Gaming says, a great 3-0 win. Indeed it was. And let's go ahead and start the match overview. Jordi Alba coming up huge. Balde was not available to start for this one. A minor illness. He did end up getting some playing time. So when I say minor, I truly do mean minor illness. Jordi Alba gets the start, provides us a goal and an assist. Gavi getting the second goal in the 70th. RAPHINHA putting the cherry on top in the 79th minute. So we get that 3-0 win. Like I said, Barcelona going 8 points clear of Real Madrid. I don't think we're going to be looking back, folks. We'll speculate on that maybe a little bit later, but I don't want to say too much, but I don't think we're going to be looking back. Anyway, if you get to the stats overview here, Barcelona had 16 shots with 7 on target compared to Sevilla's minuscule 3 shots with 1 on target. That was down to tremendous defense, high press from the back line, not allowing Sevilla to get out of their own half, even on the counterattacks. 66% possession for Barcelona, 673 passes, almost double the 365 from Sevilla. 90% accuracy for Barca, 80% for Sevilla. Fouls were about even. Barcelona had 8, Sevilla had 10. Corners, Barcelona 8, Sevilla 3. So dominant performance for Barcelona across the board. I mean, Sevilla was not in this whatsoever. Slightly slower first half in the final third for Barcelona. Took us a little bit to kind of get those wheels turning. But by the end of it, as you can see, 3-0. So we're happy with those results. We're happy with where we sit at the table. Sevilla, they're down in relegation zone almost. Almost. Couple spots ahead, but only 2 points out of the relegation zone. Elche, Getafe, Cadiz, all in trouble. And then you look up and it's Valencia and Sevilla that are just barely hanging on. Espanyol as well. You wouldn't expect that. You'd expect maybe a Valladolid, an Almeria, a Girona, a Mallorca, a Rayo Vallecano to be down there. But no, you're seeing big names. Sevilla, Valencia. Nervy times for those fans. I'd say in particular for Valencia as a U.S. men's national team supporter. I want to see Yunus Musa stay up. So hopefully Valencia can turn things around. But that's the overview, folks. Fully dominant performance from Barcelona. Couldn't be touched in this one. I loved everything that we were seeing. Let me pause there because I'm already getting into what we're going to cover in the good, the bad, and the Barsa for Barcelona 3-0 over Sevilla. Let's begin, as we always do, by talking about what was good about this match. And as we've been starting off on most of these full match reviews with the good, the bad, the Barsa, what was good about this is we got 3 points. What was good about this is we got a clean sheet. Ter Stegen continues to impress, but also continues to not have to do much. Okay, so Ter Stegen's kind of getting the raw end of the deal here, not really having the opportunity to earn himself the Barca box, the mustache man of the match. Even in this match, I can't really give him the good box because he's not really asked to do much. 1, 2, 3 saves per match, right place, right time, but he wasn't tested in this one. Okay, so he's not going to get the good box, but he does get recognition for continuing to have those clean sheets and Barcelona continuing to get 3 points. Also, what was good about this match is the new number 6, Gavi, finding the back of the net, but also just having a strong performance, a good performance from Gavi. In a time when a lot of the focus is on RAPHINHA, is on Lewandowski, that type of attention, it's good that Gavi is still in the conversation, is still providing some attacking output on top of his tenacity, on top of his grittiness, on top of his bulldoggedness, as my friend Pablo would say. Loving everything that I'm seeing from Gavi, and he would have gotten the good box. I started with Gavi in the good box, but I had to kind of pump my brakes because when I went back and I watched the review of the match again, I watched the highlights, I was reminded that the good box is deserved by none other. Oh no, I did put him in. I didn't update it. You're an idiot, John. What an idiot. Okay, I'll blame my producer for that one. So that was supposed to be Kessié. Oh man, I could update that real quick actually. What an idiot. Kudus reset. My goodness. It was smooth sailing right up until then. Right up until then. We were feeling good, feeling strong. Where is Franck Kessié at? Where you at, bro? Where you at, Franck? Hang on. There he is, right in the middle of the screen. What a dum-dum. What a dum-dum. Okay, here we go, folks. Updating live. Franck Kessié. What an idiot. Talking about myself here. Don't ban me, TikTok. I was talking about myself. I'm not harassing anybody, okay? I've gotten banned on TikTok before for yelling at referees. Oh my goodness. Anyway, all right. Let's back it on up. All right. Mistakes galore, but recognition still needs to go to Franck Kessié. This was Franck's best match for Barcelona, arguably, in a time when Busquets goes down injured. Frankie de Jong is asked to then play in that pivot. Franck Kessié steps up, showed his physicality, showed his creativity. Assist for Jordi Alba on the opening goal. It showed both of those things. It showed his physicality. It showed his composure. It showed his cheekiness with a little deke just to freeze the defender and then give it to him backdoor for Jordi Alba to get the finish. So, despite the little technical glitch with first having Gavi in the box, I told you I put him in there at first. I did say that. Anyway, Franck Kessié gets the good box for his performance against Sevilla, stepping up when he needed to. That brings us to what was bad about the match. And I'll tell you what, I had to go searching for this one. I really had to think about what was bad because we dominated possession. We had plenty of shots. We were a little bit slow out of the gate in terms of the final third, like I said, but I couldn't rate that as bad. So that really just leaves us with what was bad about this match, which was Sergio Busquets getting injured. I know some of you are probably looking at the silver lining, and I would never ask the universe of this because you don't want players going down injured. Silver lining, this is going to now be an opportunity for Frankie, Gavi, Pedri, and Kessié to show that they can step up and be the 4 midfielders, and Busquets can ride off into the sunset at the end of this year if he wants to. At the same time, we're going into Europa League. We've got more La Liga action coming up. It would be nice to have El Capitan there for the ride. So it's bad that Busquets is injured. Initial reports, I was seeing 3-4 weeks out. That means first leg against Man United, he's not going to be available. That means some La Liga ties, he's not going to be available. So yes, silver lining, our other midfielders get to step up. But overall, what was bad about this match was Busquets going down injured. You never want to see that. So Busquets' injury gets the bad box. We're going to shake that off. We're going to talk about what was Barca about this match. What was true to the Blaugrana DNA? What represented the badge in this win against Sevilla? We begin with a man that I mentioned, Frankie de Jong. Sliding into that pivot role when Busquets went down injured. He could have, Xavi could have rotated Kessié in, but Kessié's really been playing more of an attacking mid. So he goes Frankie, and this is Frankie's opportunity in a big match. I know Sevilla are struggling this season, but an opportunity to get 3 points, go 8 points clear of Real Madrid. Frankie de Jong steps into that pivot role and just masterclass. Beautiful performance from Frankie de Jong. His positioning, not just offensively, okay, keeping the ball moving, but I'm talking on the defensive side. Owning the center of the pitch, along with Christensen and Araujo, which I will touch on in a moment, but just eliminating the counterattacks. Frankie in that pivot role is an absolute nightmare for teams to try to get out and start the attack. An absolute nightmare. So shout out to Frankie de Jong stepping up, owning that pivot role, and showing Xavi that he's ready. He's ready to be the heir to that throne, and he's going to play it in his own style. He's not the next Busquets. He's the Frankie de Jong. All right? Remember that, folks. I mentioned, along with Frankie, Christensen, and Araujo. Absolutely lights out. Sevilla couldn't get out of their own half for huge chunks of this match, particularly the first half. It continued into the second half. Sevilla opened up a bit, of course, as the goals came raining in and the deficit grew. So you would expect that. More numbers forward, hard to keep them in their own half. But Christensen, Araujo, Frankie wouldn't let Sevilla breathe. Anytime that they got a clearance, scooped up. So those three in particular, shout out to Koundé, shout out to Jordi Alba as well. But those three in particular, for shutting down Sevilla's counterattacks, absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. With that recognition given out, the Barca box goes to Jordi Alba. You beautiful, beautiful man, you. Jordi Alba. You'd think he was done. You think you could just write him off. You'd say, Balde, you're in, kid. The spot's yours. And while that is true, Jordi Alba said, you know what, folks? Not so fast. Don't write me off yet. I'm not riding off into the sunset. I've got things to prove. He steps up. He gets a goal. He gets an assist. Jordi Alba. And you can, the passion that he still has, you could see it in the celebration. You could see it, just the pure joy, the enthusiasm, and the love that Jordi Alba still has for Barcelona. So for his performance, for his dedication to the club, for his willingness to play a lesser role and still step up with the right attitude in these times, Jordi Alba, representing the badge, gets the Barca box against Sevilla. Okay. Excuse me. Let me clear my throat. Anyway. So then, the mustache man of the match goes to another man who was under a bit of criticism, some said maybe should have been shipped out in January. I would say that would be extremely harsh. And a man that is stepping up when asked of him, is meeting the expectation at the right time. We, of course, are talking about none other than RAPHINHA. A huge goal, a huge assist, 3-0 victory for Barcelona, and it was all flowing through RAPHINHA on the attack. He continues to perform, got a goal in his last match, got a goal and an assist in this match. RAPHINHA stepping up in the absence of Dembele, really giving Xavi something to think about. I mentioned earlier on the Engine Room podcast, which we recorded earlier today, that will be released this evening. A little shout out to Pablo and Buga, the Engine Room podcast. You can find us on YouTube, on Spotify, all of those things, yada, yada, yada. I digress. RAPHINHA is now the, I believe, leader for goals and assists combined in La Liga and has the most assists for Barcelona. And this is without starting a majority of the matches. So RAPHINHA right now showing his worth, showing why we spent what we did to get him from Leeds, and showing that he deserves to be here. He deserves to be here. He deserves to get his playing time. RAPHINHA, big boy doing big things right now. So RAPHINHA gets the mustache man of the match. Kessié gets the good. Busi, with his injury, gets the bad. Barsa box goes to Jordi Alba. RAPHINHA to wrap it up with the mustache man of the match. And that does it for the good, the bad, and the Barca, my friends. Of course, let me know what you would change. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What do you think of the overall performance? I'm going to turn to the chat, keep the conversation going. But if you're watching on replay, let me know your thoughts. And I will, of course, read those after the fact. We'll keep the conversation going then. All right? It's all about the connection here, like I said, folks. But what do you think? The good, the bad, the Barca. I got Kessié. I got Busquets injury. I got Jordi Alba for Barca. I got RAPHINHA with the mustache man of the match. Let me know your thoughts here. I know, Kudus, I got a little bit of allergies going on. I'm trying. Should have blown my nose before getting things going here. Anyway, folks, like I said, if you want the full experience, if you're watching on TikTok, swipe over, click the link in the bio. That gets you over to YouTube, where we got folks like Fabrice saying, I would love to see Busi just another year. I agree. I would like to see him stick around for one more year, but not be the primary starter. How about that? Busi stays one more year, because I think next season, Barcelona are going to be Champions League winners. Calling my shot now. Barcelona 2024 Champions League winners. Okay? I would love for Busquets, Alba, Sergio Roberto to be a part of that. And then, you know, I think it makes sense. It would be a beautiful story, but it's contingent on the attitude of being rotated and not taking that number one spot. All right. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling. We'll see what happens. Anyway, who else we got participating in the chat here? Ryan Scott, how we doing? Says, this defense that we have now could be the best back four ever for Barca. Oof. Big shoes to fill with the likes of Carles Puyol, Piqué, Eric Abidal, and Dani Alves. Big shoes to fill, but they're good. They're very good. Man, you might be onto something there, Ryan. I'm going to have to think about that a little bit. Winston, how we doing, sir? Shout out to Jordy. Let me scroll down here. Who else we got? Paul, how we doing, sir? Says, we need to try a 4-3-3 again in the future. We will need a good left wing. Here's what I'm thinking about that. Once Dembele comes back, I think we start either way, Dembele or RAPHINHA on the right and the other one on the left. Okay? Now hear me out. We play through the right wing, and whoever is there to start, we go hard for 15 minutes down the right wing. Okay? Then you swap wings. So now we've switched places, and you keep attacking down that right side. You go hard for another 15 minutes while the initial guy is resting on this side. Okay? So let's just say Dembele starts on the right, RAPHINHA starts on the left. You go hard for 15 minutes down the right side. Meanwhile, RAPHINHA is not using a lot of energy. You swap. Now Rafinha's going hard down that right-hand side, and he's giving the defender all kinds of hell because he just defended Dembele for 15 minutes. Okay, so now Rafinha's running hard. Dembele's taking that rest. He's pinching inside a little bit. He's letting Balde or Jordi Alba do the overlap when needed on the left-hand side just to balance things out a little bit. But primarily, we focus on going down that right-hand side, and any counterattacks coming up this way run into the wall that is Jules Koundé. You're welcome. That's it. Somebody clip that and send it to Xavi, please. That's all you need to do. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Dimitar says Rafinha needs to start more often. I think I just addressed that. Not Brandon says, did you hear that apparently PSG doesn't want to renew Lionel Messi? That sounds like garbage. Is that true? I don't know. I'll say I have not heard that. I'll look into that maybe here in a bit when we jump over to some other news. Kuda says the rule of thumb is ditch them a year before you want to. What are we talking about players here? Are we talking about relationship? What are we talking about here, Kudas? I think I missed the context on that one. Harry says Uncle John should be on Xavi's management team. Well, thank you for the support. I happen to agree. So again, somebody clip that, get it to Xavi if you would. Thomas Wold, how we doing, sir? Says Visca Barsa. Hope Ansu shines at Barca soon and stays. Agreed. Not having the best year, not having an Ansu year, not having the year that we wanted him to have. Still just hasn't really mentally and perhaps physically come back from that injury after postponing surgery. So who knows? Maybe after one more off season of recovery, recuperation, then maybe Ansu can come back and be the Ansu Fati that we know and love. But right now, we ain't getting it. Kudus, referring to aging players. Okay, thank you. So referring to aging players, the rule of thumb is to ditch them or, let them ride off into the sunset the year before that you want to. That makes sense. If you look at somebody like a Xavi, like an Iniesta, I think they did it perfectly. They didn't ride themselves into the ground. They didn't take it to a level like, I hate to say it, but like PK where they're getting whistled at home. I think that's how you do it. Yes, indeed. Logan, how we doing, sir? Akash, hello. Says if we go back to a 4-3-3, then we'll have to sacrifice Frankie. Not necessarily. I think there'll still be a rotation between Frankie, Gavi, Busquets. Pedri is the one that's really untouchable, but Frankie, Gavi, Busquets can all kind of rotate in if we do go back to a 4-3-3, which I agree we do need to find ourselves a proper left wing at this point. What do I think about Man City? That is conversation for the engine room. We cover that in depth, so I don't want to necessarily repeat myself. The Engine Room podcast with Pablo Wolves Blanco, Buga Luis. That's going to be coming out later tonight on the Engine Room channel. Again, check it out on YouTube. Check us out on Spotify. We're on TikTok, Instagram, all that jazz. But we talked about Man City. We talked about English Premier League results. We talked about Champions League. We touched on Barcelona, of course, but that will be available here later today. Chris says Xavi has the same number of points in his first 46 league games as Pep Guardiola at 109. Let's go. Dropping some knowledge on us, Chris. I appreciate that, my dude. Not Brandon says Barca Universal tweeted the Messi news. I don't want to throw shade. Who I would just ask Not Brandon, who was Barca Universal quoting as their source for that one? Some news outlets are a little bit more lenient with who they're willing to quote as their news. That's all that I'll say. Harry says Luis Enrique has more than Xavi and Pep with 112 points. Yeah, Luis Enrique, I think, just didn't like the pressure and the scrutiny of being at Barcelona. So you'll have that. Anyway, Monty's got to head out. Have a good one, Monty. Appreciate you hanging out with us, my man. Prediction for Man United game. Oof. That. Hang on. Boy. Okay, I was going to say, that's not this Thursday, right? No, we got the rest of the week off. We got Villarreal on the 12th. We got Barcelona United on the 16th. The return legs on the 23rd. We'll get to predictions for Man United and Barcelona here on later episodes. So we're jumping a little bit ahead right now. We'll stick to the good, the bad, the Barca from Sevilla, Barcelona, and other headlines for right now. Kuda says when the start is, I don't want to throw shade. I tried my best. Onisimo, how we doing, sir? Good to see you again. Glad to have you in. Winston says, what position would you get another player for? Don't think we will sign anyone new anytime soon. We need to get a understudy for Lewandowski, and we need to figure out who our left wing is going to be. Because right now it's not going to be Ansu, and it's not going to be Ferran with how they're performing right now. I'm not saying it's not going to be them. I'm saying with how they're performing right now, it's not going to be Ansu or Ferran for the future. Okay? I think both of them get one more season, but if this continues, then by this time next year, I wouldn't expect them to still be wearing the Blaugrana kit. We'll say that. But you give them the rest of the season, you give them the off season, and you see how things go. All right? You see how things go. But they got to give us something here, right? Talking about Ansu and Ferran still. They got to give us something to get excited about. Football con Aldo. Welcome, sir. Says Vizca Barca from Ensenada, Baja California, Mexico. Right? Ensenada, Baja California, Mexico. All right. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Kudis says, Kyle Cash told me we need a long snapper and a third down receiver option. Man, talk about throwing shade. My stash mod's always going at it. JJ, how we doing, sir? Says, sorry, I'm late. No big deal. Glad to have you. For those of you that missed it, we did go over the full good, bad, and Barca. The good was Kessié. You missed a little flub on my part. It was Gavi, and then before the broadcast, in my head, I changed it to Kessié. I just didn't change the graphics, so you got to see me mess that one up and change that live. But Kessié got the good. The bad was the Busquets injury. Barca was Jordi Alba, of course, with his goal and assist, but then RAPHINHA stealing the show. Big performance. Big boy doing big things. RAPHINHA. I really do get excited about the future of this team right now. I mean, the list goes on and on and on in terms of the projection of top talent that we're going to have at Barcelona. We're talking about RAPHINHA, Dembele, maybe still Ansu and Ferran Torres. We're talking about Gavi, Pedri, Frankie de Jong, Franck Kessié. We're talking about Araujo, Christensen, Koundé, Balde. Ter Stegen, because he's a keeper, has a long shelf life ahead of him. This is a ridiculous team, and I'm not even getting to the Pablo Torres of Barcelona yet, all right? This is a team that is exciting, and again, as Pablo brought up on the Engine Room, being released later today, another quick promo for the Engine Room, Barcelona, arguably the best team in Europe right now. Hard to beat, very tough, and doing good things. Very proud of my boys right now. Very proud of my boys. Chris E says, didn't Pep use Iniesta as left wing in the first season he won the league? Yes. Right now we're seeing Gavi play that Iniesta type role. Sometimes it's Pedri, but mostly Gavi play that left wing attacking mid is what I would call it. Yes, you're lining up on the left wing, but you're not always hugging the touch line like you would see from an Ansu Fati or a RAPHINHA or a Dembele when they're out there. So Gavi playing more that attacking mid role. Winston says, willing to give Ferran and Ansu a chance, but when we are without Lewandowski, we are a very different team, and a backup striker could be good. Amen to that. Amen to that. We'll see what happens with Man City, because while I don't think Haaland necessarily fits our team, and Man City would not give him up, someone like a Julian Alvarez, depending on what happens in terms of financial restrictions, in terms of salary limitations, who knows? Man City might be having a few players picked away. A Rodri would be somebody to look at. A Julian Alvarez would be somebody to look at. A Ruben Diaz, even though we are pretty flush with center backs right now, a Ruben Diaz would be somebody to look at. We'll see. I'm getting ahead of myself because who knows what will happen with Man City. Again, we talk about that on the Engine Room. A little promo for the Engine Room. It's Royers asked, good question. How would we feel facing Bayern right now? I would feel pretty good, actually. I know some of you might scoff at that, but I would actually feel pretty good about taking on Bayern. Anybody besides Man City, PSG, anybody besides those two, I would bet on Barcelona right now. Man City and PSG, of course, just have so much firepower. You don't really know what to do with it. Man United are also going to give us fits. We'll talk about that upcoming, but I'm not taking that match for granted, that tie for granted, I should say, by any means. Barcelona, Manchester United, going to be an interesting one. Napoli is on fire. That's a fair point. That is a fair point. Napoli is pretty hot right now. They'd be tough to bet against. Onissimo says, glad to see our team performing well. Hopefully we can clinch this title. Visca Barca, much love. Thank you very much, sir. Much love back to you. Yeah, Man City, as Ryan Scott pointed out, struggling in the English Premier League a bit. We talk about that on the Engine Room, my friends, which is every Monday. You can check it out there. On this channel, we focus on Barcelona. We do live Barcelona news on Wake Up and Barca every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with some alterations. So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of the scheduled changes. The times also change because I know that not everybody can be here at the 7 a.m. time slot that I used to do it at. So I mix it and match it sometimes here and there. So you got to turn on notifications. That's important. Subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the live streams. Come hang out with your fellow culés. Connect with us over our love of Barcelona. Support the badge. Support each other. That is what we do here on this channel, my friends. That is going to do it. One more reminder, if you're watching on TikTok, to give me a follow. If you want the full experience, swipe over, click the link in my bio. That gets you over to YouTube. YouTubers, drop a like before you go. Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications. I will see you Wednesday for Wake Up in Barca. And that's going to do it. We'll go from there. All right. High fives and hugs for whoever wants them. I love you all very much. Go out there and do good things, positive interactions. I'll see you next time here on the Undefeated channel. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking a ride. Mwah.